What's up, y'all? Back at you one more time with a sit down with Mark. This time on this episode, I interviewed the executive director of Tissenberg Television, Rony Camille, former NCCU graduate who moved on to Massachusetts and now is the executive director of Tissenberg Television. Enjoyed the conversation, enjoyed the interview, enjoyed the convo. Hope y'all enjoy it. Ask y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all tune in. So, first question. Being a 2007 graduate, and I was a graduate as well, um, being a graduate of North Carolina Central and majoring in mass communications, what roles or jobs did you take on after graduation that currently led to your position?
Well, Mark, I'm going to let's take it back before graduate North Carolina Central University. Thanks for having me on. So my career started out at the age of 15 or 16. I started at a small radio station in the town of where I mainly grew up, Nashville, New Hampshire. A small radio, a small radio talk radio station, and I had a radio show, weekly radio show there, and then I moved on and what we call board operated some of the local shows and some network affiliated shows there. Did the Red Sox, the local shows for the local station for the Red Sox, the Boston Red Sox, and got my feet wet at NCCU, WNCU, and AudioNet, and did some stints with ESPN, and really my career started at NCCU doing that whole deep across sex scandal, where the eye of the world was on campus, and I made some connections with some folks in New York at the network at ABC News, and that kind of I maintained those relationships, and I started out, went to the New York Times Student Journalism Institute, and 2007 spent 2 weeks in New Orleans, and when I came back home in New Hampshire, um, I started out as a general assignment reporter at a weekly newspaper. And from there, I went to the local NBC affiliate in Boston, and again, maintaining those relationships, went to network television. I was a production associate or desk assistant, and was editing video for abcnews.com, editing video for ABC News Now, which is now ABC News Live, and just kind of built my way up. And that's how I ended up where I am today, with the town of Tingsboro, Massachusetts, which is north of Boston, right on the New Hampshire-Massachusetts border. I applied, I got the interview, didn't get the job the first time, but I maintained a relationship. Throughout my career, I can honestly say that I've never had to apply for a job. It's always been a relationship builder, whether I've applied, but then I get a call back later on the line. That's how my relationships have been. So I worked for the town for about 5 years, and then CBS called, CBS ONO in Boston, and they asked me to come up, and we don't say no to WBZ, which is one of the legacy stations. And so I went to work for them for 3, and then I got transferred over to iHeartMedia when CBS Radio got dissolved. And in this business, there are some cuts and such, so I was affected by those layoffs. But again, through maintaining relationships, I was able to get back on my feet. And right before the pandemic, or during the pandemic, I returned back to Tingsboro, where I am the media program director for the town. So I oversee 3 local cable access channels, and a small staff. And we do local community programming, as well as we air all the town meetings from our boards, regulatory boards, board of selectmen, zoning, planning, conservation, the annual town meeting, and such, high school graduation. So we're in charge of that, in making sure that the community is involved in local media.
Doc, describe your role as the executive director of Tissenboro Television.
So it's pronounced Tingsboro, and my role is I basically am, I empower my staff to produce content. I am also the liaison to the various departments in the town and the community. And one of my biggest challenges and my kind of big roles is to try to get folks to produce television, produce content. We don't have a big facility in our community. We are working towards that. But some of the things that we'd like to see, we have a podcast corner where people can come in and record programs, interviews such as what you're doing now, and that's kind of my main role. And we have our three, for those that may be watching this program, local cable access is in threefold. So there are three channels here in our community. One is the government channel, which is all the local government meetings. The second is the public access channel. So, from your cooking shows to your political shows, on our channel, we air TED Talks. Democracy Now! Is a network affiliate show. We have a local programming, that talks about the various issues in the community or in the region daily, that is aired live in the mornings. And, if church bulletins are on there, garden sales and such. So that channel is the community channel. It's for the people that live in the community. And oftentimes, I partner with other communities, and if I see good content, I'll say, hey, can we air your content on our station? So that is where the public access channel kind of lands. And then our third channel is the education channel. So that is primarily used by the schools. The high school students have, they produce newscasts. The newscasts air on that station. Oftentimes too, they'll tape plays. We'll put the plays on if they have the broadcast rights to them. School committee meetings. NASA television is aired right now in our air right now. So that's the three community channels that we have.
Doc, as a director, I'm sure you face highs and lows in the business. What were some of the challenges you faced, and how did you overcome?
Well, I could say that the COVID pandemic was really a challenge. I came on board with the town as a contractor, interim director, wasn't planning on staying. And when the pandemic hit, there was a need to quickly transition the government operation virtually. So that included the meetings. And so I worked closely with our IT, information technology, our chief information technology officer at the time, and the administration and some of our vendors to kind of figure out what are some ways we can still keep the government going, virtually. And people, we don't want to shut people out, have closed door meetings, and we can't meet in person. So we're going to do it through Zoom. And, as we're having this conversation now, this is, the future, the day and age where we're having these sort of conversations virtually. And so we did that. We took a Zoom meeting, and using the internet, we're setting it up through RTMP, or real-time media protocol, and then ingesting it into our system, and then broadcasting it live. So and we're all doing this from our house, from our living room, from our kitchens. So that was a challenge in itself. Recently, with COVID coming back, we're meeting in person again.
Right.
So, and sometimes resources are limited. So, we had a live event that recently happened in our community where half the room couldn't hear, but I kind of tackled it and looked at it like systematic, like, all right, what's going on? How do I resolve this issue? Because this is an important meeting, and the people need to be able to hear the town's business. So we were able to resolve that issue fairly quickly. And I say this, I think about this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's kind of a egg on our face in a little bit, but at the same time, it's what can we do better the next time?
What was the most successful project that you've worked on, and what did you contribute to it?
Boy, And I've had a long spanning career as a communicator, as a journalist. Ooh, that's a good one. You know, I want to say maybe 2 years ago in 2019. Um, talk about last minute requests. So I was a freelancer at WBUR Radio, which is a public radio station in Boston, affiliated with Boston University. And the executive producer of this program at the time wanted me to book to get on their show an astronaut from the International Space Station. And I said, she's busy in space, right? He goes, "No, yeah, just to reach out, see if it's possible. See if it's possible. See if we can get her on." So I sent an email to NASA and they said, "Well, she's in space, but we'll see what we can do." I said, "Okay, do you have some dates in mind?" So I gave him a few dates. And I said, "I'm never going to hear from NASA again." Nah. And a few weeks later, behold, the mission commander emailed me. It says, "Hey, we got these windows of opportunities to do a interview. What do you want?" So I go to my boss and I said, "Hey, listen, this is happening, right? This is happening. We're gonna talk to Dr. Jessica Meir from space." And he goes, "Okay, let's make it happen." And then NASA canceled and then they rescheduled. But just to get it all coordinated it was a day. It was like within a day, we had to get the questions lined up and setting up an interview, like we're setting up now. You get on the Zoom and that's it. But with NASA, it's a whole orchestra. I mean, they have handlers, they have a handler for all the people that are going to be on the call. There's a protocol. You have to follow the script to the T. You're handed off, you're patched through to their mission control room, and you have to say the script because the astronaut is like, "Okay, I can hear you." And, we were on with another station up in Maine somewhere. We shared the satellite time. And, I set up a return feed. And the way it all played out, Mark, it just was beautiful. I'm just sitting there like, man, I just cannot believe I just coordinated this interview, a two-way interview between the International Space Station, one of the major public radio stations in Boston. And you're just looking at that two-way, and I'm like, wow, this is just amazing. And we got this astronaut on the air. It was a beautiful thing.
For my last question, speaking for self and for upcoming students wanting to work in the television, what advice or encouragement can you offer about the industry?
So I'm a big advocate of sending the elevator back down. And my biggest kind of advice or takeaway is it's not what you know, that's important, but it's who you know. It's being involved, reaching out. I think as a student, you have more benefit to reaching out at a TV station and say, "Hey, I'm a student. What can I do? Or how can I learn this? Or can I shadow you?" And obviously now with the age of this pandemic, it might be a little challenging, but there are abundant opportunities out there if you are hungry and going after it. At the same time, things are changing in this era where we are in the Great Resignation because a lot of people are overworked, but it's an opportunity for you to learn things. And so I can't stress enough, just reach out to people, make an introduction, find out who the people behind the scenes are, because those are the people that are making the decision, not the people on air, but the people behind the scenes. Those are the ones that you want to get to know and influence, and you'll be up in those ranks as well. So that has been my that's kind of my lesson, my little tip to the next generation of folks. And once you get there, send that elevator back down to the next person so that they don't have to struggle like we all do.
Doc, I thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Such a pleasure to have have, to be on to talk to you, as we're, fellow Eagles.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
would it be all right if we kept in touch?
Absolutely, for sure.
Okay.
All right.
I'll catch up with you, dog. You take care.
Yeah, man. All right.
Well,
Take it easy.
you too.
Bye-bye.